Yeah, I'm waiting for Steve to let me know. We're good to go. So good. Maybe.
You're all set, ready to go.
All righty. Thank you, Steve. Good evening, everybody. This is a special meeting of the Water Valley Select Board. It is 23 March 2026. I am Rich Reader, the chair. With me here today is Vice Chair Wendy Rathber and Select Board Member Dan Bancroft. So this meeting was called to hopefully finally come up with a budget. We're hoping this is our last meeting about the 2026 operating budget. I'd like to run it as we did the previous two. That is, I'm going to make a opening statement. The board will then discuss the budget, potentially end up at $7 million, perhaps even a little under, and then open it up to public comment before we vote on the budget. So with that said, let me start off with a statement. The select board heard the voters and per their directive on 10 March, created a $7 million operating budget for 2026, which cut $514,000 from the select board's proposed budget. What this means is that once you subtract the required debt service payments, the 2026 operating budget is essentially flat compared to the 2025 operating budget, an increase of $36,000. Given inflation for materials and services, rising labor costs, and increases in insurance premiums, this has meant that the select board had to find cuts not only in the increases in its proposed 2026 budget, but also in budget lines expended in 2025. The select board proceeds to do this with these principles in mind. 1. Estimated revenues, which could offset operating budget expenses at tax rate setting in October, cannot be counted in the expense lines when creating a budget for or the result of town meeting. 2. The municipality exists to provide services to residents, other taxpayers, and guests. Those services have been approved by the voters year after year, sometimes over decades. While different municipal services carry different levels of necessity, the select board decided that, absent the town consensus to change what services taxpayers want and at what level they want those services, it will continue all services previously approved by the voters. Thus, cuts in all municipal services were off the table to the greatest extent possible, though minor service cutbacks could happen due to cuts in expense line items that support these services. 3. Staff provide those services, and recruitment and retention of qualified workers is a huge problem for today's New Hampshire municipalities. Thus, to provide the same level of service as much as possible, the select board decided to follow through with its proposed COLA, retention, wage, and benefit increases to staff. 4. The select board will continue to try to fill 2 vacant positions in wastewater operations and 1 vacant position in public works. It will scale back the expense lines for this by hiring later in the year. However, it will redouble its efforts to fill these positions by creating and funding a recruitment budget line commensurate with that effort. Proceeding from these 4 principles, the select board focused its expense cutting on departmental costs related to parts, maintenance, supplies, and fuel, and on discretionary spending. This is how the select board reached the $7 million cap approved at town meeting. The result, once revenues are counted into the ledger at tax rating time, will be about 5 cents per thousand increase to the municipal tax rate from the operating budget alone. That is not counting other approved spending from general taxation on capital reserve accounts and special warrant articles. They add up to an additional estimated 7 cents per thousand. Estimated is the key word in those 2 sentences. Finally, a caution. This tax increase holiday will not be replicable for the next year's operating budget. Inflation is not going away, so costs for municipal goods and services, always higher than the CPI, will go up. Labor shortages are not going away, so labor costs will increase, and very much so if we are successful in filling the vacant positions that we intend to fill this year. Insurance premiums will not be going down. Deferred maintenance may have to be attended to. Some cuts to the 2026 budget may have to be restored, the debt service is going to increase dramatically once again, and the select board will have to consider adding to the tax rate to begin to put money aside for the new wastewater treatment facility. As the town approaches its bicentennial, a strategic review of services will be imperative. First and foremost, the town has to decide what services it wants and at what level, and then it must accept what the cost of those services are. Although this exercise was painful, hopefully it exposed to many residents and taxpayers the work that goes into crafting a budget starting in September the year before. The operating budget is a result of many hours of work by department heads, the town's finance and human relation officers, the town manager, and the select board. And the budget is but one part of overall town expenditures. Need I mention the new wastewater treatment facility? Second, the select board is creating a financial advisory committee comprising the town manager, assistant town manager, a select board member, and 3 members of the community. This committee will look at municipal spending and the current staffing structure. Other accounting methods will take some fiscal pressure off the operating budget, like revolving accounts, and near and medium-term changes in services, such as eliminating the tax subsidy to wastewater treatment, so its funding is based completely on user fees, or scaling back solid waste disposal only to residential properties to alleviate wear and tear on infrastructure and staff, or increasing permitting and connection fees, as well as introducing development impact fees, and increasing fees for desired programs and non-essential services. There is a lot of work to be done this year in this regard. The arrival of a new town manager is imminent, and the select board plans to work with him to set the town up for its 3rd century of existence. So that was for the record. And now we will move on to the hard numbers. Okay, so Steve, when we last met, we were about $25,000 away in a tentative budget. And the plan was to see where we can get that additional 25,000 to get us in under 7 million, but also for the select board to review what it had tentatively agreed for specific budget lines. So that's still open as well. So did you want to start with showing what those numbers are? I think from what you passed to us this afternoon, you have quote unquote found the $25,000. And we're able to produce a budget that came in at 7 million even, was it? I'm going right down here. 7 million to the penny, pending select board review and a review of its decisions about the line items that has been making over the last 2+ meetings.
Correct. So at our last meeting, we spoke about, I think one of the largest changes that we looked at was the funding of the Ray Center, their preschool primarily, their cultural services. So we had gone into the last meeting with a reduction of $30,000 in that budget. And we came out of that meeting with a reduction of $6,000 in that budget. So that's replicated on the spreadsheet that you have in front of you. And then in addition, I believe the department heads, up to discussing what cuts they've made to further reduce the budget. In administration, we looked at the IT services line, and we made another reduction of $8,000 there. That was to fund some supplies and a new server to operate off of, so we reduced there. And outside of that, we did a small reduction at the post office. Tony was hoping to get her carpets cleaned this year professionally. Look at that, accounted for $1,250 of a reduction there. But I guess we could just go around the table. I think Dylan.
Yes, please.
Highlighted a reduction.
Yep, go ahead.
Yeah, so what I ended up pulling out is water distribution system maintenance line item 9,500. Thought process behind that is we can rely on our CRF to get us through to the next year. Again, as I stated in the previous meeting, that will have an impact so long as we don't have a really bad water main break or frequent water main breaks, I should say. Late this year and early next year, as the CRF isn't dependent upon a budget season. It's just a sum of money.
Right. How much do we have in that right now?
We just added
25,
25,000,
right?
And I think there was maybe 2 left in it.
2,000, so about 27.
Yeah.
What about the contract we have with regard to water main breaks?
That's still in effect.
Right.
But you know, hand in hand. It's one of those things that either way, it's a gamble. Is, you know, water main breaks about $7,000 or so, depending upon the severity of it to repair it. So it's just, that's what, that was the only thing I could find in my budget that was easily gonna be absorbed by a CRF. The rest of it, there's nothing that can be moved
Right.
around, so
And in the event CRF runs out, we do have
contingency.
contingency, and that's something I want to come back to as well.
And I think that was the only line. Yeah.
Okay, yeah. Megan, Public Works?
Yep, so the summer maintenance line I reduced, or the proposed reduce is originally it was 8, we went up to 23 overall, so I reduced to 15 for the road striping / street sweeping. Then I reduced the cold patch line.
Let's just go back to that one line. So you're saying that there will be no line striping or street sweeping.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Megan, we did leave the sweeping in there.
Okay, so sweeping
Okay,
stays,
so
but
no
striping-
line striping. Now, my recollection is, I don't know if we did it every year. It may have been every other year, but it's been every year recently, I think, because we have had significant degradation of all the road lines, center lines, fog lines.
Mhm. Yep,
What
after-
about, this includes the crosswalks?
It does.
Yeah.
After talking with the more senior guys down there, their recollection was that it happened every 3 years, the line striping. Since I started, we have done it every single year. I think we can hold off a year, especially on the new roads that are hopefully to be built, specifically Boulder Path. Why paint at least those portions? I can't break it out. But
The Boulder Path will be covered by the bond.
correct,
Correct.
but the road striping
In general.
covers the entire town.
Right,
That's
I
everything. But the roads that currently have line striping, there's some crosswalks that are questionable, but with the vertical signs that we have, I think it would be sufficient for the crosswalks.
I'm also worried about the double white lines that we have for the multi-use path. Some of those are pretty eroded. Okay, you go on.
Cold patch, I reduced that, that's $750.
750.
So yeah, just $750. I took away the radio maintenance line for solid waste, which was $500. At the last meeting, we talked about reducing the membership dues and training for solid waste because Jen got the scholarship for the class, so it did get reduced by $7,300. And then I also reduced the dumpster repair line of $1,000.
Okay. Hi, Brooke.
Hello, so the reductions that I was able to make in Parks and Rec include the field trips that were going to be added back in this year for camps will not be added back in at 4,600. Taking out the new programs line for new youth programs for 1,000. We're able to reduce our Easter costs by $400. We're taking out the Dunkathon, which is a part of our July 4th celebration. It's a fundraiser, but it does come, that
That one worked for me.
$900 does come against our budget,
Right,
actually,
even though we raised-
that we raised the money,
Yeah,
but
that's the one.
it will be coming off the bottom line for the budget. We're also removing the paint for the field, for Packard Field, for the soccer, the lines that we usually do. The Earth Day funding and the community gardens, that's 1,400 total. And also some memberships, White Mountain Attractions, which puts us on a map for, tourism, as well as Granite Outdoor Alliance. That's $475. We're reducing our speaker series line from $2,000 to $1,000. We are also removing the kiosk and sign that was planned for the Water Valley Recreation Area, as well as the porta potties at Packard Field over the summer,
Both
Yeah.
or just one?
both,
Both, okay,
and also the winter lights for
a portion of it.
the the entrance sign. Well, it will eliminate it altogether for the entrance sign for the town, the rec department and the race center. Snow tower tires for the new van or new-ish van. We'll have to wait. That's $3,200. And then the fishing derby at $6,000 will be removed this year.
Chief?
So starting at the top of the line, we have police special details reduced by 6,000, which matches the usage based on last year. That is a revenue generating line, but we felt that on the expense side, we could lower it. We don't anticipate. It should be right about in that same line. Computer maintenance, we took 1,500 out of that, dropped that to 0. That line was usually for maintenance fees for our records management software. Since it's covered by Grafton County and we hadn't expended that, we decided to zero that out. Uniforms, we have some mismatched badges, and the $2,000 we cut out was to replace the mismatched badges that our public safety officer wearing. For various reasons, the badges get changed a little bit here and there as the years go on, and we were looking to get them all uniform. Police gear, the $6,500 is almost the full total for replacing the 2 rifles, patrol rifles in the cruisers. They're 10 years old. We usually switch them out at 10 years, so we're just not going to do that this year. Miscellaneous equipment and supplies, we dropped that $1,500. And we dropped, since we're not doing the fishing derby, Citizens Academy, we dropped $1,000 out of the community education line, which leaves us about $500. And that typically pays for stickers and the plastic helmets and that sort of thing for the kids. EMS gear, that's usually our PPE. So that's either the gowns, the masks, and or jackets, usually winter jackets that we store in there. We dropped that $1,000. And our vehicle maintenance, because we do have a new ambulance, we dropped that $1,000. 2,000 out of the miscellaneous supplies. Based on uses, this is what we buy all the medical gear with for the ambulance, including medications and drugs. So we took 2,000 out of there. Just seeing a slight reduction in the amount of calls just at the beginning of this year. So we felt 2,000, we should still be okay with what's left in there. Fire gear, we typically replace 3 sets of fire gear a year. We took a set of gear out, so that drops 5,000. So this year we have a new employee, a new public safety officer will be, once she's out of the academy at the end of April, she'll be fitted with a new set of gear, and then we'll have 1 more set to replace. But instead of 3, we'll only be doing 2 this year. We took $4,000 out of the fire equipment line. We have a new fire truck that's slated to be here June, July. We also have a CRF that we can lean against if something major happens to these. So I was pretty comfortable with taking $4,000 out of that line. And then miscellaneous equipment and supplies, we dropped that down to 2,500. So basically it's a 2% drop in our total budget.
Okay. All right, Wendy, Dan, any comments on those recent proposed deletions and where we left it last we talked?
The only comment I have is that the library is sitting currently at 0. That is a town
Well, they do have funds.
activity.
They do have funds available. I spoke with one of the library trustees who indicated that they will be fine with that reduction.
They'll be fine for this year.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right,
Cause that is a town. function.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah,
So first off. Good job. From everybody in the town, all town employees who have. Made some pretty hard cuts. If you stop and listen to this, you'll see that there. Some of these are. Going to impact us, some of in a serious way, and some of them will impact. You know, if you will, the vision of the town as it's been for so many decades now. So thank you for all of you. For putting in some extra effort to try and make this, possible for us up here.
thank you, Ben.
um,
Wendy?
have a few comments. I guess I'll start from a
it?
smaller one, go
Yeah.
up. The fishing derby at 6,000, that also includes the 2,000 that's usually spent to put fish in the pond, which not only is for the derby, but also for the leech population. Is that correct?
Yes.
I'm concerned about allowing the leeches to prosper
How
again.
far will they come in 1 year, Dave?
We'll have to ask a leech expert.
expert.
I don't know. It used to be pretty rampant, especially
Yeah.
following the year after we dredged. It seemed to, we thought it would have the opposite effect, and it was, they exploded. So, for anyone might have a better guess than I do of what a year would
Okay.
do.
I mean, and if that was to be expended, would there be a way to perhaps piece together the derby with funds? I know that there's a coalition growing to help fund some of the activity, some of the nonprofits and things that are being decimated, and including the fireworks. So perhaps if we could make that $2,000 investment, it would make the pond more usable and perhaps allow the derby to happen?
I
Question
guess
mark?
that's a good question, just so that we understand that once we make these types of cuts, if there is a coalition that comes forward with the funds to do it, is that now going to be something that the town staff takes on to, coordinate that event? But just to get clarity.
No, I agree. I'm not sure how that,
If we zero it out, I'm not sure how we,
I don't know either.
How
But
we
like,
do
'cause
that.
I guess fireworks would be different because that's hiring an outside company, although we have detail on that night too, which, so I don't know.
Yeah,
Grab put money in
to
detail.
Brooke's point, we have staff.
Yeah,
We usually carry the staff costs to put
right,
on those types of
Events.
events.
right.
It's not just the,
No,
cost of the
absolutely.
event.
the cost of the event,
Person.
Yeah.
it's we carry the personnel cost as our part of the
your
contribution.
budget,
Right.
To put it on.
No.
I mean, if we
Dues.
put
understand that.
2,000 in and keep that line open,
Where are you gonna take another 2,000 out?
we're getting there.
I'm asking the question.
I want to see what the total is.
Pays for the fish.
Right,
What
Doesn't
is the
pay for
other,
anything else.
what
The
is,
Right.
what is the
remaining
anything
would be
else?
4,000. You know. It would be tough to do the derby without the sort of reputation that we have
Mm,
for, the entertainment, the sort of big day that it is.
yeah,
So I don't know how we would,
It draws a lot of people to the
Mhm.
valley.
Yeah, I mean,
And
it's-
customers to town square.
as well as it's a very, I think, community centric event. Just among the businesses, and people really are interested in giving to this event. Community support is really easy to come by for this event in particular. But it's again, the situation where we do have a small amount of revenue from the entrance fees, but then there's also about, $3,000 in donations that are made to support this
Already?
event. No, not
Oh,
already.
not already.
They haven't been collected yet.
Okay, that's the
But
total of 6.
It is, but again, it's the same problem where it's gonna show the 6,000 against our budget.
Right.
We bring in almost 4,000 in revenue.
Right.
right.
So if we leave it open at 2, you would anticipate that the other 4,000,
Well, not necessarily, because if we only have $2,000 to work with, we can't buy the prizes cost $2,000, unless people go out and buy the prizes.
Oh, I'm sorry,
themselves.
I thought you said the other 4,000 was really made up by entry fees and donations.
Oh, I'm talking about the costs. I'm
Yeah.
referring to the costs,
Oh,
Not
not
the,
the revenue.
not the revenue side.
right, no, I get it.
Expense
Be
side.
about $2,000 in prizes that we purchase. That's part of
Plus
the,
the 2,000 in fish.
Mhm.
plus the 2,000 in fish, plus the remaining 2,000, which would be, the entertainment. We invite, face painter and an animal
Wildlife.
show. Those types of things
Right.
could probably be taken out, zeroed out, but
When we put all that in, how much, when you do include the revenue, how much does that usually account? Against that $6,000 expense?
4,000.
About 4,000.
It's a two,
which is-
yes,
Yeah.
yes.
So
Yeah.
it's pretty much a break even if you take the fish out. The
Right.
fish used to be in,
Yes.
Right.
the fish used to be in pond maintenance.
Right.
Because
Right.
the
Right.
originally
For the leech.
pond maintenance, it was for the leeches and we
Yeah.
put fish in there intentionally
Yes.
to
Right.
control leech population. So
This
if
is
you
the
look at the
first year-
donations and the event itself, if you take the fish out, it's a break even.
This was the first year that
Right.
I had to factor in the fish on the Parks and Rec budget.
Right,
Mhm.
but yeah, it's understanding that breakdown that led me to
Yeah.
ask the question.
Yeah.
So if,
But we could put the fish in separately and not have the derby.
or it could be like a word of mouth, the fish go in 1 week and then a week later, oh, by the way, everyone, they're fishing, maybe people will gather.
Well, there's a little more to the
Yeah.
derby than that.
I'm not,
you
I'm
know.
definitely not trying to downplay it.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, I don't know.
We could take street sweeping out as well. That's $5,000. You could put $5,000 back into the derby.
That did not come out.
We
with-
use,
I know, that's what I'm saying. We
Yeah.
can take it out and give it.
Great.
there was a
Then
lot,
we can-
there
we
was a
can
lot of sand
do
this
the
year.
big-
No summer
There was a lot of
maintenance,
sand.
no street sweeping, no repainting of lines. We're gonna look really nice in the summer, right?
The amount
But
of
we'll have
sand,
fish.
You'll have
We'll have
happy,
fish.
no leashes and happy kids.
the amount of sand would worry me. What I was looking at was, under admin and office supplies. And, postage in particular went up quite a bit and percentage wise and office supplies. So I'm wondering if we can get between those two lines and maybe even miscellaneous as well, that went up a fair amount. Can we find $5,000
It's all in
there?
post office.
On the
Admin,
first page.
no, first page admin
Postage is more than it was last year.
by 50%. Office supplies went up about 30%, postage about 50%, and miscellaneous.
We have to be able to mail out the bills.
I'm not saying that we aren't, but I'm saying it's a 50% increase, so instead of going from 8,500 to 12,000, can we take 2,000 off that?
Steve, what was the reasoning for that increase by a third, roughly?
Projecting some
Or
additional.
half, excuse me, half.
We were projecting some additional mailings this year. One being in Megan's department, solid waste, to get the new transfer station placard system going. We were,
But that could be combined with another mailing, right?
well, maybe, but we were considering mailing the placards out themselves in some instances, which I thought maybe a little more expensive than your normal.
Hmm.
What's a letter now? 75 cents? 78 cents.
So we could make it that people just have to show up.
I mean,
Town
if
and pick 'em up.
if they wanna dump their trash, they gotta be here anyway.
The other one was we were gonna do 4 mailings for delinquencies in water and sewer this year.
Yep.
For billing,
Yep.
that you approved already.
Yeah.
Right.
And then with respect to the office supplies, this year, unlike prior years, we incorporated all office supplies throughout the departments into this line.
Oh.
Whereas before we've had those office supplies.
So that's the
spaced out
increase.
between,
Okay. So that's all departments.
since we do all the ordering in town hall, we just thought it'd be easier.
No, that makes sense.
Except for the rec.
Yeah, except for.
Yeah.
I walk over and grab paper.
Yeah.
And the
And a
miscellaneous,
legion.
and the miscellaneous?
Miscellaneous, I'd have to go back and look and see what we were planning for. I think that honestly, Wendy, was just because of the overspend last year associated in that line, which was largely comprised of recruiting costs. So I plussed that up $2,000 to offset some of that, but we could go down a little bit if we're gonna open up that new recruiting line.
Right, so if we make the miscellaneous from 3,000 to 4,000 instead of 5,000,
I'd be comfortable with it.
and what if postage went to 10,000 instead of 12,000? It's still a $1,500 increase.
And then use that
That 3,000
for
for
getting
anything.
anything, but
Perhaps a
What
potentially,
was your recommendation on postage?
Could that go to 10,000 instead of 12,000? So it'd still be a $1,500 increase?
Yeah, I'm not comfortable with that, but that's what you want us to do.
I don't know, what does the rest of the board think?
Gotta
Well,
give
I'm-
it times, electronic only.
I'm not sure that's a good idea.
I mean, mailing the
Mhm.
placards does seem redundant
Yeah.
because people have to physically be here to dump their trash.
Right.
it would push the program well, we already were pushing the administration of the program. Department of Public Works, there'll just be more to do. Once they flip over, when they arrive, you would have to keep track of all the new placards if they didn't come to town hall ahead of time.
And having that other person would give me a lot of flexibility.
Right, but you don't have that other
Don't have
person
that
right
person right
now.
now.
But they're-
That's
but they're
trying
in
to
the
hire for
budget.
that.
I got it, no worries.
No, but really,
That's-
does it throw too much for reference?
Yeah,
You're right.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Well, if we were to go over on postage, we would have to take it out of contingency.
well, I mean, that's
Yeah.
exactly what I was
Right.
thinking.
Yeah.
Right now, in my mind,
Every line.
we're trying to.
That's every line.
Yeah, of
Yeah,
course, that's
but
every
that,
line.
that was, I
Yeah.
think I said up front that I was concerned about how much we had reduced contingency.
Yeah.
Yeah.
that-
So,
that
I
was
mean,
my
it's just
next
a-
point too, yeah.
Peter and Paul
Yep,
sort of,
that's
Right.
why I asked where you're gonna get the 2,000 for the fish, if you will.
That's where I came up with the three.
Because-
yeah. No, I was hearing that, but that's how I saw Wendy's response, but it's
Yeah.
more,
Okay.
That is my response to
Right.
to
Okay.
that aspect of it.
So we're gonna use our postage for fish.
Oh, not all of it. There's
Well,
still,
no, some of it.
there's still a $1,500 increase in there.
Yeah, no, I got you. I got you.
and we do have contingency, but I think we're gonna have to plus up contingency.
Yes, that would
Well-
definitely be my next point too.
We've got 70K in contingency as it sits right now.
So if we put 3,000 in fish, but we
It's 2,000 for fish, right?
Yes,
do,
2,000
It's
for fish.
2,000, but maybe
You-
1,000 for
to
a
add
little something.
a little bit more.
I mean, we could
And
do
say that it only goes forward
with $3,000.
in in donations, and we can always still put the fish in the pond, I suppose.
Yeah,
We would still do that.
so what will remain for that line for the rec? $3,000? Is that what you're suggesting?
That's what I'm proposing.
Okay. Yeah, that's better than no, zero, right?
So
I mean, it leaves open the possibility of
we added,
of casting.
we've now added expense. Overall, we're at a net add.
No,
Well, we're shipping.
no, it's even.
If we.
It's
if we
even. I
ship.
subtracted 2,000 and 1,000. And that gave the.
But you're
3,000.
not gonna add 3 more to rec
No,
for the rest of the program, right?
no, what's happening is we took away 6,000 for the
Yep.
Derby and now we're putting back 3,000, which just quick math here, it looks to me like we can do the trout and half the prizes and we can skip the t-shirts and the entertainment this year.
Unless someone wants to donate,
Right, well,
Okay,
actually,
or.
no, I
They
can't,
would-
I
they
can't
would
take the
have to.
donation because then I have to make the expense. They would have to.
They would
be
have
the-
to do
bring us
all of
the
it on
prizes.
by themselves.
Yes,
Mhm.
that's the whole problem, is
Yeah.
that we bring in the revenue, but we still have to expend the,
Right up front, and we
Yeah.
can't count the revenue until
Right.
later in the year.
right.
Yeah.
All right,
Okay.
so, just on that one. Are you okay, Dan, with moving that 3,000?
I suppose.
I mean, we're still not done. We have a lot of more moves to make, but let's put that down as,
It just sounds
Tenant.
funny, I'm spending my postage on fish, but that's okay.
And then the other thing I was thinking is I really hate completely zeroing out our contribution to WVAIA and the Historical Society. And I'm wondering. And I'm sorry, but I'm wondering if we should trim down what the 30,000 that we had proposed for the Ray Center to something less
else?
to be able to.
I was,
keep up with
I'm in
the-
the same,
What is your proposal?
same place.
Well, my proposal was altogether, I'd like to see the contingency back up a little bit more. So I was thinking if the contingency could be 85,000.
Where's
The-
that 15
The,
coming?
I'm getting to it. The Ray Center could go from 30 to 10, and then the AIA and Historical
5 each.
Society could, or 25 each,
Or 25.
2,500 each.
Right.
And that would allow the 85,000 in contingency. As we keep saying, it could.
Well, we keep on laying
contingency.
on if something goes wrong, we'll just get it out of contingency.
I'm not entirely happy with it, but that was my first suggestion.
I think that puts the rate center a little bit too low, to be honest with you, so. And I don't see how they're gonna continue, I don't. Is there somebody here from the race center who can speak to this?
Well, let's wait and decide what we want to do.
Well, I mean, we're trying to argue the point.
Right, well, I think we just have to come up with a number and then we're gonna open it up and see if we want to
Yep.
change our mind.
Yep.
Based on what anyone tells us overall, because there's a lot of balls in the air here.
Yep.
I
My
generally,
position generally is that I would like to provide the race center with minimally enough that allows them to continue their preschool program, because a great deal of effort went into putting that together, and that involves children and families. And I'm very much pro-children and families. And I think all of us here in the valley should be pro-children and families. Because if we don't have children, we have grandchildren. Okay,
Okay.
and so forth. So,
so. I'm gonna put the green eye shades on and point out that we've never been happy with the budget as presented to us. There's still questions there. And the 30,000 that was approved at town meeting 2 years ago was meant for the preschool essentially.
yep,
And as I understand it, they have taken that last, there was 10,000 left and they took that recently. Steve, is that correct? So there's no more money there. Do we know why, what the funds were for? The
They take-
10,000?
There was a revolving fund set up 3 years ago with the
Right.
expectation that they take a $10,000 draw annually for the next 3 years, and that's what they've done.
So just
Right.
your general
They did not ask
programming.
to-
Did not, so that was the, right.
At Town meeting.
Right. I have to say, I mean, extremely reluctantly, although I agree with your sentiment, Dan, I'm with Wendy. 10,000 and let them try to make up the difference. That may get them through. We can, if there's someone here wants to talk to it when we open it up. That may get them.
we supporting the others, Historical Society and WVAIA.
Because I know they're both in the middle of ongoing projects and it just,
Well,
they,
guess what? There's pain associated with all of this from everybody.
Right.
And they may have to slow down their projects
but slowing it, I thought
and
the 20,
or stop them for a year.
well, I thought the 2,500 would allow them to go forward slowly as opposed to just completely.
We zero them out as opposed to the race center, which we,
Reduce
Almost
them to
fully
1,000
funded.
each.
25 each.
I'm not up for 25 each. I don't approve of that.
Okay, well, we can come back and vote on that, but I have to say, I'm with Wendy on this. Anything else, Wendy?
That was a gist of what I was looking at, but there may be other things.
Okay, so I think I have mentioned concerns I had or the race center contingency. I'm gonna bring in another factor here, the recruitment line.
Hmm.
I think that's an important line, and I'm not at all happy with reducing $15,000 and not doing any striping or any line striping or crosswalk striping at all. for a year. As I said, we already cut the summer maintenance budget. And that, we're not gonna look that great. And summer is important for the town as well, in terms of image wise. We get a lot of people in the summer. While in the summer, the extra guests we get tend to be weekend oriented, right? Except for a couple big weeks. So you get a jagged sort of population in the summer. Come July 4th, it kind of ramps up and stays that way for a good month before it goes back down. And I think, Dylan, is that still a good metric from the
Low side.
flow side? Okay, thank you. I guess you guys know how to say those things in a technical manner, right? So I'm really not happy with the 15K taking that out for the line striping. And the recruitment, can we just turn to that? We'll come back to that. The recruitment. I think I see now, Steve, we asked for 50. Originally, you've been able to find a little bit more money and dropped it to 23,411.
Yep.
On the recruitment line. Now of that, we've already, what's the proper word? Committed 9,000.
Correct.
So we'll be down to, somebody help me with my math. It's late in the day. Is that 14? Call it $14,000. And we were planning to use that line in the event our candidate for town manager asked for a signing bonus or some kind of relocation assistance. That is still open.
Correct.
And we also wanted to move forward, as I pointed out in our statement, aggressively recruiting Public Works 1 and wastewater 2. I could see the signing bonus and a little assistance just taking all that $14,000 away.
Potentially.
And is it not a common practice these days for someone at that executive level would expect a signing bonus?
I think it's common in all positions we hire for now, more so than ever.
Yeah. Margaret, you're an expert in this. I'm gonna violate my rule, but since you were part of the process, the chair of the selection committee, and thank you again very much for your help.
In any category where there's a lot of competition, you're gonna get into extra things happening to attract them, and sign-on bonuses and relocation assistance are two of the tools that you have. I was just looking at Steve. Didn't we get 3 months worth of recruiting already?
For the
Or did part of
9,000.
that go into last
That was,
year?
no, it went into this year. That's the 9,000.
That's the
That's
9,000.
23,000 minus the 9. The line item is 23,000.
Oh.
No,
So that was already,
it
already
was,
been
it was a very
contracted
good
for.
value.
Yes, it was.
It was.
Yes.
And I think we'd like to replicate that.
Yes. we
And
would.
we do have another proposal from that same company with regard to wastewater
Right.
and a recruitment effort on their part to help us fill, which are absolutely critical. Not only for current operations, but we got to get somebody in for the new plant sooner rather than later, so they can have the required on-the-job experience, which is
It
4,
depends on what type of certification. we're
right?
looking
But
for.
at the for them to be able to run
It's technically 6 years of experience.
6 years,
Yeah.
So still-
We have
so-
to try to get someone that's already in the industry.
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah, especially if we're looking at 31.
Yeah.
I think for the new plant.
Right.
That's still our timeline.
Yeah.
Unless you want to tell me something different at this point. I'm good. So I'm worried about that recruitment line.
Yeah.
As well.
Sure.
I think it may be too low.
So I don't disagree with those statements, Rich.
Mm-hmm,
The question is if we increase these lines that you want,
mm-hmm.
where do we take the cuts?
Yeah.
So if you're gonna ask for an increase, you have to ask for a decrease somewhere else.
Mm-hmm. That's the dilemma.
So-
We could take the 15,000 that we were given to the race center and AIA and
Historical.
Historical Society, and that opens up 15.
So you're saying zero then?
Yeah,
And you're saying zero?
we
The
still have
other
to,
two.
well, we have to, yeah.
So
those three.
I,
And then we still have to deal with the, I don't know, you haven't expressed opinion on the line striping, are you,
the line
Well,
striping, I think
Wendy.
we could get away with for a year.
Okay.
I actually agree to that. It might not look as good as it normally does. But in the bigger picture of things, I think that's pretty minor for a year. The following year, we would then need to obviously probably line stripe every year.
Mhm. Yeah.
And, you know, unfortunately, everybody, the problem with this is we're making all of these cuts. And a lot of them are gonna have to come back probably next year. Because we're gonna need some of these things that we're being forced to cut right here, right now, to meet a stupid arbitrary number of $7 million that was put forth at the meeting. Okay,
I would agree,
so,
I would agree with you on the line striping. I think,
Yeah,
a
line
big- I
striping.
think a big reason we've been doing it is because there's been so much new road pavement laid down.
Yeah,
And
and
it
it
takes a
makes it
year or
look
two
good.
before it really hangs on to itself.
yeah,
And I think they've all, most of them, right, have had two striping.
Mhm.
So there's a
Yeah.
bit of a base built up. So I think I feel comfortable. And if Chief Noise feels comfortable safety wise.
how about the crosswalks?
That,
Um, you know, I think without really having paid attention to them, I'd be comfortable with a year, you know, going a year, but like you said, it used to not be every single year, so I think we'd be okay. There is the crosswalk signs are still up. We will
Right.
have the bollards up.
yeah.
Okay,
So, you know, perhaps, you know, if between expenditures and some revenues towards the end of the season and fall, maybe if there's some money available to do that, you can reevaluate it
Sure.
at that time.
or contingency,
Right,
Although-
if we haven't used it.
Yeah.
if we haven't used it up, or if it's, you know, do we just wait? Because striping in the fall seemed to be a little bit of a,
Yeah, you usually don't like
Waste.
doing
You don't like
that.
doing
Usually
it.
it's a springtime thing.
Yeah. all right. All right, so we'll go with the 15,000 for line striping, I'm fine. Not having a line striping, I'm fine with that. So, and we took 3,000 out of administrative. That will apply for,
3,000 more, we should say.
well.
Oh, yes,
it's out
well,
more than
this is all more.
Yes.
This is, I think, our fourth meeting on this, so this is more again. In order to put some money in casting for Kirby.
Well,
So
and the fish.
Well, that's what I meant.
And
So
no
well,
leeches.
the
Yeah.
fish will go in. Unfortunately, they don't survive in the winter. Because it's used for snowmaking. The pond. So it gets pretty low.
Smart ones do.
They find the smart ones, the ones that get caught though.
No.
You can't dissuade the legend of Kirby.
That's right. He's out there somewhere.
The
He's out there
legend.
somewhere. Our version of the Loch Ness Monster, right?
Mhm.
Kirby is out there. So that brings us really back to, if we're gonna get to the $7 million number. It really gets us back to some combination of Race Center, AIA, and Historical Society balanced with recruitment and contingency.
Yep.
Okay, maybe since those are kind of forward looking a little bit, contingency, maybe this is a good time to open it up and see what people think. What do you think, Dan? Before we make a final decision on those lines?
One quick second.
Okay, Wendy, what do you think?
I'm fine with that once Dan's.
Okay.
ready.
Going to take a quick look. See if there's anywhere.
Oh, there are plenty of others.
Well,
Where else
I mean,
is
that
it?
are not anywhere else. Anywhere
Well,
else.
actually, I guess I did have one other question. Sorry.
No, go for it.
Under rec and
Yeah.
under parks,
Mm-hmm,
we have the special events.
mm-hmm.
What do those entail?
For which one, the rec
For
or the
both.
parks? For parks, we have the fishing derby,
Mhm.
we have the fall foliage foot race for 4,000. We have the Department of Public Safety detail cost for the fall foliage race, which I just broke out separately at $840.
Okay,
And
That's not counted in, chief, that's not counted in your special detail line?
I was asked to put it in my budget this year.
Okay. Okay, fine, yep.
Solo Wilderness First Aid course,
Mhm.
which is $2,700.
okay.
What are those costs actually related to? You
The-
just go back over the cost, like the
The-
4,000 for the, what are we
Fall-
paying?
fall
The
foliage.
Fall
fall
foliage.
foliage foot race, the timing company is $1,300. The bibs, the race bibs are 200, the t-shirts 1,800, the signs 100. Permit is 100, and then the sort of giveaway that we do is 500. You know, it's like a logoed,
Right,
Yeah,
cup or some other type of item. The detail is I think it's for two. It's only like 2 officers.
Yeah.
Because we do have people running on the roads and the roads are not shut down, so
so
I
not,
feel
not counting the detail, it's
4,000.
4,000, okay.
And then the solo wilderness first aid course is $2,400 for the instructor. And then we have to pay for the instructor lodging is generally around $300 for the 2 nights
Mm.
at a area lodge.
Mhm.
Again, these are all attached to revenue, of
right,
course.
yeah,
Right,
yeah.
And then for the recreation.
how much, by the way, I mean, when you balance it out with revenue? Now, the fall foliage races for charity, right?
Nope,
What do we do? Is there revenue there, you said?
yes, there is. I don't have this right here right now, but it's approximately $6,000.
So that goes into the town's
Yes,
general
that's,
fund?
yes.
Okay, for
And
some reason I thought
about-
it was.
About $900, which is actually
Mhm.
budgeted in our expense, a separate expense line. Under donations is
Mm-hmm.
usually approximately $900 that we donate to whatever the beneficiary that we've designated for that
Of
race is.
that revenue?
Yes,
Okay,
which is, always optional, but it's,
sure.
the
No, it's
race is
giving
kind of
back.
built upon that.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the solar wilderness?
That revenue is usually around 3,000. So
Okay.
3,100, I think, last year.
Okay.
So
And then, so then the rec special events?
the rec special events include our summer carnival. It's the July 4th carnival, as well as the Chalk Fest, which we do over Labor Day weekend.
Mhm.
We also, so for that, we have also $800 for shirts, and face painter is around 1,000. I kind of have those two lumped together, as well as live music. So it's about, let's see, what's that? $6,600 total for
Okay,
those 2 events.
okay.
6,200,
66.
66.
sorry, thank you.
Okay.
And then I also have Easter, which I've limited to $100 this year. Usually we
Mhm.
have a bit more, and then Halloween around $500.
Okay, I have a quick question. The recreation equipment maintenance and recreation admin equipment maintenance. What's the difference between those two? And what are we doing for those two?
Equipment maintenance 431 is our software essentially, or our cloud services. So the main one is our rec desk, which is, our
It's a contract we
our
have.
program that we use for registrations, point of sale.
Yeah, so that's
That's
the
for-
software issue.
4250.
Okay,
And then the second one is our scheduling app, when
Yep,
to work.
yep.
And then 432 is our rec admin equipment maintenance, which includes our recreation copier contract, which is simply our copy machine.
yep. Okay.
$1,600 for the year.
Yep.
The only other place, if you're looking for places to find more money,
Well, I'm looking everywhere.
is
I'm just walking down it. Everybody's done a pretty good job.
yeah.
Yeah.
But go ahead, but don't let us stop you, right?
I know, right?
If you see somewhere.
Keep my mouth shut.
No, 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 no.
No,
I'm serious.
All right, well, do we want to open up, see what people think?
Or don't.
yeah, where are we at the moment with respect to
We
the
want to hear
numbers?
what Brooke was gonna
Was
say.
it-
I was just thinking I could
We have,
take $1,000 from my program supplies line.
And it could be a little bit more for the Derby,
Pardon?
and it could be a little bit more for the Derby,
Oh, well, that would just be moving it to the Derby, you mean?
I don't know.
Yeah.
If it's
Yeah.
$1,000.
I mean, that would just, yeah, I could do that in my internally within my
Anyway.
budget,
right?
Yeah.
right?
We can do
I
that
mean,
anyway.
yeah, I mean, I can try, right? But it's hard to do things earlier in the year and not really know.
Yeah, no, I know.
All right. So would anyone like to make any comments at this point? Please come up to the microphone and state who you are and if you'd like, where you live, at least generally.
Good evening. Thank you all for all your efforts you've done so far with the Budget Club. My name is Heather Nickerson, 16 Lost Path. And I want to say, Dan, I agree with you very much about being all for families. We've moved our family here to Waterville. It's a very special place. But I also feel there's a lot of emotion around the center. And being a former CFO, I wanted to share some light and details that I found from the 2024 tax returns. So the Ray Center has a retained earnings, so they have in essentially their accounts based on 2024 tax returns, $136,000. The preschool program, according to the tax returns, cost $57,000 to run. It also brings in $41,000 of revenue. So I think when you look at the numbers, I know there's a lot of emotion. We want to keep supporting the center. Absent a transparent budget, I wonder why that's not required. Because I feel what I've heard from the select board is that, well, the library doesn't get funded because they have money in their account. Some of the other discretionary nonprofits don't get funded because they have money in their account. So if you look at strictly the Ray Center, which is also a nonprofit, they have $136,000. They bring in $41,000 for the preschool program, and it costs them $57,000 to run. So I just wanted to share some of the numbers. I do think there's a lot of emotion. When you actually look at the numbers, I think it may help making a tough decision in this climate. And then hopefully next year we can get a budget and have a better understanding of where does that town money go. So that's what I wanted to share.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Think Financial Advisory Committee, Heather? Great, you're on. Well, we have to vote. Somebody else would like to,
Just saying.
would anyone else like to speak? Yes, please. Is the microphone on or is Heather just a small, are we picking up on the microphone?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
We'll try. Nadja Stratton, 6 Boulderwood Way. I want to respond to that first, although I don't 100% know that this is the answer, but I believe it is, and we can get more clarity. I believe there was a settlement that happened, which I don't know how much detail can be shared, because I know there was also a non-disclosure agreement signed, but I believe that money can't be touched until 2033, I think. So it does need to be sandy checked, but I think that's money that the Ray Center does not have access to. I wanted to make one sort of general comment, and then I could talk about the Ray Center more. I'm a little concerned conceptually with cutting programs that generate revenue. And I understand that, like, on a technicality, you're taking expenses away, and that's what we requested. But if the net effect of that is we're actually making less revenue also, the concern from the taxpayers of, we're trying to equalize out taxes, if eventually the loss in revenue has to be taken into effect, we're sort of at the same place. Like, it's sort of a shortcut to getting the expenses down now, but it doesn't actually solve the bigger problem. So I just sort of a general concern about cutting revenue producing programs. And I do think the Ray Center falls into that, because I know for sure that if the pre-K goes away, we're probably losing 3 to 4 school families for next year. And that means all the money they're spending in town, that means having their kids in the school. Like, without a pre-K, the young families can't be here because the parents can't work. And so I think the knock-on effects of some of the sort of decisions that are being made now, they're bigger than just the $15,000, the $30,000 coming from the Ray Center. It's all the other things that come. There is a big concern, I think, that the young families are feeling this the hardest. I know we've talked directly, and the after school prices have gone up, and the summer camp prices have gone up, and all these things that, like, they're sort of making little cuts and having really big impacts to a very small number of families that are feeling it very hard. I've just joined a committee where we're trying to convince young families to move into the valley. We've got the Ray Center and the school and the academy all working together to try to encourage young families to move to the valley. And it's a tough sell right now, and it's getting tougher if we're then explaining why sort of all of the programs that serve the young families are the ones that are getting hit pretty hard with these changes. So I know you guys have very hard decisions to make, and there's no right call, but I think for the longevity of the valley, if these young families are really getting hit from every direction, I don't know how we convince our friends to come up here and to sort of bring the youth and the energy back into the valley. Thank you.
Great, thank you. Good points, thank you. Anybody else like to address the board? Yes, Warren. Oh, I'm sorry.
I'll go right ahead.
Yeah, sorry, I didn't see you there.
Michelle Larkin, Village Condos. I just want to, I'm also kind of part of getting the Ray Center started, so it means a lot to our family. I had a question for Brooke, like you mentioned $1,000 for a speaker series. I know the Historical Society also has a speaker series, and so does the Ray Center. So I'm wondering,
Yeah.
do we need 3?
Well,
Town fund?
we have actually unofficially taken over the Ray Center.
Oh, okay.
So we work closely with Leah to make this happen. And it's just, we found a lot more success with it happening at the rec department over the last year. I'm not sure if you've been able to attend any of them, but it happens on a regular basis and we've had great speakers. And so Leah's been able to kind of like let that go a little because they didn't have a place. So we are essentially taking that over, and we tried to add $1,000 to that line just because a lot of it's really high quality speakers cost money to bring.
Yeah.
You know, we have a lot of great
I
speakers
didn't realize
from
it was
locally, but yeah,
it wasn't in addition. That's
no. And
great.
so, yeah, I'm not
It's
sure if
interesting.
Leah's still budgeting for that, but I don't think she is.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then I guess just a comment, like, I know we're talking Historical Society, WVA, a lot of initials that I don't remember them in the right order, but I do, I just want to make sure to articulate, like, I don't see either of those programs being something that would keep, like, people aren't moving here because we have that. And I know that that might be hard to hear, but people can move here and stay here because of the Ray Center. And I don't think that that's necessarily true for those other programs, in my opinion, but thank you.
Thank you very much. Yes, Warren.
Did you say WVAIA?
No.
Yes, that very anachronistic name that you yourself admitted is not the best.
I would like to provide a few printouts. If my printer had been more cooperative, I apologize, and I won't be going into too much detail. And I don't feel comfortable putting my back to everybody. I usually like to face.
Yeah, but we're the guys making the decision, so you gotta decide who you're talking to. Your call.
My name is Warren Wheelock. I am the president of WVAIA, which is the Waterville Valley Athletic Improvement Association. It's a mouthful. And I have a house at 18 West Branch in Waterville. So I'm going to try to
This
keep
is
it.
awfully small print, Warren.
All right, this is something, it's an overview.
Right.
And I'm gonna just go quickly, and I think the most important will be on my last page.
Okay.
I think AIA is an organization that we all know of. It's been around for a long time. I think it gets a bit undervalued given what it brings to the valley. So let me just go through very quickly. And we do a lot of projects, and I'm gonna focus not on winter socials, not on summer picnics. I'm gonna talk about trail maintenance. I'm gonna talk about maintaining the trail system of 24 miles of trails, which we all enjoy. Many of us who value that, and that's why we came to Waterville. In my summary, from 2021 to 2025, we've actually invested from our funds over a 5-year period, almost $100,000. It doesn't come easy when you only get $10,000 or $8,000 a year. The rest comes from donations, it comes from dues, it comes, from events. Yes,
Just a quick question. What's the current balance of your remaining funds that you have?
it's approximately $50,000.
Right.
We have projects that sometimes can
No,
range
I
up to
understand that. I'm just
31,000.
asking to get a sense of whether your organization, if you will, still has funds akin to, the check that Wendy did
We
earlier.
do. We do. We have
Yeah.
We've been spending it down actually, but
No, and I appreciate the work you do. I've seen it right next to my house when my house is in the picture.
yeah.
Okay, go ahead, Warren.
So in any case, I mean, and I'm gonna flip through those pages very quickly, you know, a Mad River, you know, bog bridge, which was done by Ryan Harvey. And you look at the picture, you see, my God, I wouldn't even want to walk on that thing. It got replaced. We do a blowdown patrol. Over the last 2 years, we've removed 260 trees. These are blowdowns across our trails. These are blowdowns that are obstacles. They can even be dangerous. They could be widow makers. You're gonna see my point in a few minutes because, like I say, it's not about wilderness first aid. It's about, and I'll give you a clue, it's about safety. The Mad River Path relocation, which was a historical path, which was literally going into the river because of all of the overflow from the Mad River. We rerouted that, you know, we engaged professional trail companies, which there are not many. And as you can see through some of the slides, we rerouted it. And now through a combination of, you know, hardening, boulders, stone and gravel. The Goodrich rock ladder was literally, I personally shut it down with my wife. I mean, we put a big X, do not climb on it. It was a danger. We had that fixed. The step replacement, to your point, a beautification of at the top of Cascade Ridge, where it was a mudslide. It was horrible. You'd slide, you could get hurt. We put in almost, I think it was like, and it's on the second page, all the line items, exactly what we spent over the last 5 years. And we're talking, you know, that was almost $30,000. The replacement of the steps on Mad River Path, which were rotted, and it's on the steepest section. We all probably know it well. The stringers we've redone, the stone was put in, and the boulders. So I don't want to, you know, I could go on and on and on, and that's not really my point. My point is that we continuously reinvest. We do it with professional trail crews, and we try to make sure that we can keep a very safe trail system. We have a budget that we thought we had of $10,000, and now we're talking about going to zero. So basically gutting the program. And I understand this is a really hard job for you guys. I ran a company for 40 years. I bought it out of a Chapter 11. I had to plead to a creditors committee. You know, it ended up being the best decision of my life because I got lucky. It worked out. So I've been in a tough spot, and you guys are in hot seats right now. So I do appreciate the fact that you are trying to balance here. And when I hear yellow stripe lines versus keeping our trails safe for our community, I think there's a disproportionality that I just want to make sure we keep perspective on this. So we've already approved as a board $21,000 of new trail improvements. This includes the trail patrol, which every year we take those blowdowns. If we don't get any money, yes, we could spend some of that money, but all we're going to be doing is just sort of slowly, you know, it's our retained earnings. I mean, we need that for the next project. Maybe we'll have, who knows how many trees. So we already talked to the Trail Fixing Collective. We said it's a go. I mean, I know from the budget, Steve, we said, you know, it's feeling kind of cozy, but it's not a decision till the meeting, and then we all got surprised. So I don't know what to tell them. So why does WVAIA matter? And that's really, I think, the crux of what I'm here today. WVAIA safeguards our trails, ensures safe access and preventing hazards in the White Mountains. To play on an analogy, just think of AIA as the DPW. Instead of ensuring safe roads, we ensure safe trails. And in such a context, AIA serves as an essential worker for outdoor infrastructure, ensuring that our trails, like any public access, remain safe, accessible, and maintained for the community. AIA should not be viewed as discretionary. I've listened to all the meetings and it's like, it's discretionary. I completely disagree with that. I think it's a core part of preserving our town's natural assets and public use areas. And while AIA actively fundraises and relies on member dues and donations, we cannot be left alone. We can't do it alone without risking our own community safety. The White Mountain National Forest and the U.S. Forest Service have significant financial constraints right now. And they depend on clubs such as ours to maintain the 24 miles of trails. And our efforts, if they're reduced or halted, we won't be able to fill that gap the way that we should. Beyond the public safety aspect, there's a tangible financial payback. Our trail system acts as a multiplier, attracting visitors who boost local lodging, dining, and businesses, benefiting the entire town's economy. I, for one, am a poster child. We rented in the valley. I love to hike. We bought a house. We've been paying taxes for 14 years. The reality is many people don't realize these trails need ongoing care. There's no trail fairy magically going to work. I think some people really believe there is, but as residents, as well as tax-paying homeowners such as myself, we share responsibility not only for town services and staffs, but the incredible natural environment that makes Waterville special. So we are not saying that WVAIA shouldn't share the pain. That being said, we believe our role is a minor ask with a major impact. We want to acknowledge that the select board faces a tough job of identifying $500K in savings from its budget. I don't envy that challenge. Having run my own business for 40 years, I do have an appreciation of how hard it is. But after listening to many hours of the town meetings, I've heard discussions on budget items that are orders of magnitude larger than our request. So we simply ask that you keep perspective on one of the quietest yet longest surviving organizations in town. Thank you.
Good
Do you
morning.
have any questions?
So I would almost recommend so we're in a tough situation, as you see right now. And one of the things you could do for next year would be to put a petition warrant article on requesting funds. Right? And see if the town would vote to add funds to support your line item. I mean, right now, we're in a situation where we have to make cuts. And we have effectively zero latitude for doing that. You can see we're talking, $1,500 here, $1,000 there. And it's really hard to support your organization, even though we might like to, when you have a budget that's over $50,000 in place. You still have $50K.
Yeah, we have that.
I would just ask some understanding with that. I don't think any of us, want to get killed by a widowmaker, right? And we
I don't
do
want to
value
get
the work.
buried.
It's just.
And people do get hit by trees, as we all know.
They do, yeah. I understand it fully.
One thing I would say, though, I think from what I've heard from a lot of discussions, 5 here, 10 here, contingency funds, there's some big fish in the budget. I mean, I don't know how you go and shop your liability, your workman's comp, your comprehensive. I don't know if you have an agent that puts it out for bid every year. That's what I used to do in our company. And we found thousands of dollars over savings. The same with healthcare. I don't know, because again, I'm not as deep into the weeds as you are, how deeply you look at the health plans, and do you have an agent who shops it? Because we're talking tens of thousands of dollars. Right now, to be honest, $10,000 is 0.0025 of the 500K. I mean, it's an ink spot, but I think what kind of makes me feel, I don't think people really understand how much the hiking community and the trail systems, as I say, I'm a poster child and I live, on Branch Ave, and I suspect that I'm not alone. So yes, we could make we've had budget you know, we've had financing, and it's only a small part of what we do. You know, we had a winter social, you know, we've had to, I mean, we don't just sit back and let money roll in. We push people on dues.
Yep.
So I don't know how much further we can, but I think everybody, almost like a school system, not everybody uses it. But it's available to them. And so not to have skin in the game, meaning, you know, the people, the residents of Waterville Valley, they have this beautiful forest. And I think everybody has a skin in the game and everybody should pay a little bit for it, but I think I'm over my 5 minutes.
Thank you very much. The only person that can get through to me is my phone when everything is turned off is Helen, and she's reminding me that we are like you and why we came here. So have an interesting conversation when I get home tonight. Okay, yes. Steve, yeah, you can come on up, but Steve, did you want to address what we do when it comes to health benefits and so forth? Insurance, shopping around.
So our current insurance provider is Health Trust. Health Trust is a very commonly used vendor within the state. I think they have, what was the last count? 134 municipalities?
It's a nonprofit created for,
Percent municipalities in the state of New Hampshire.
More than 85% of the
it's
municipalities.
created for municipalities.
Yeah, and the last time we shopped it, I believe, was right when I started in 2021, and we went with a new vendor. I apologize, I can't recall the name. But according to the benefit control, the coordinator and Mark at the time, it was a disaster.
It was.
It went
A year.
horribly. So
Yeah.
we were fortunate enough that Health Trust, again, parsing their words, took us back at that time because they had some type of you couldn't buy back in for at least 2 years, for a 2-year period, but they gave us some leeway in that circumstance, and that is the vendor that we currently use. I'm not saying that we couldn't shop it, we absolutely could, and frankly, I think it would be a good idea, periodically.
For next year,
to shop those out. And then with property liability, workers' comp, and unemployment insurance, we partner with Primex, which again is another very well-known and utilized vendor throughout the state within municipalities. They do a lot more than just provide us with those coverages. They do some really beneficial trainings for our staff. They hold conferences where I go to one conference once a year that has a lot of different vendors that I can interact with in other municipalities. So again, there's nothing precluding us from shopping it out. It's just a very there are benefits beyond just the insurance coverages that both Health Trust.
And that was another nonprofit created for municipalities to get among the lowest rates
Risk pool.
possible, risk pool.
Yes.
Right, and that's why we've stuck with them. The one foray into the commercial world, we got burnt. And we went back
Correct.
to Health Trust.
That'd be good.
Yeah, just a quick comment, Warren.
Very quick.
We need to move on.
In my very small business, we shopped it every year.
Okay.
And it was a surprise to me because certain insurance companies, and it's their underwriters or actuary, they're saying, we don't really want to get into that line of business anymore. And what do? They raise rates. And if you're willing to take the bait, they won't turn you down. And having a very good business broker who can shop it for you, so you don't have to. And that should go all the way because these are big ticket items. And I have found that changing was actually my best strategy, but I always went with good carriers. So
Thank you, Warren. And we had another comment, please?
Yeah, dittoing Warren as a former small business owner myself. Matt Ramsey, we're one of those people, to Warren's effect, that came here because of the trails and the hiking and all of that. We're building a house. We're going to generate more property tax revenue for you guys. So I think that is important to keep the town and the amenities that come with it, from hiking and the skiing out and all that, top notch, because I think that does attract a lot of us. When we talk about WVAIA and the Ray Center, they're a nonprofit. You guys just asked what their cash on hand was. So I think that I'm new to the town, so I don't know the Ray Center. I haven't participated in that. I think to the point that she was making, if you ask anybody in the town, do we want to get rid of the services that provide daycare for town employees? I think the whole town would rally to find a way to make sure that stays. We do not want the families that are helping in the town to be disadvantaged like that. But I also think if you're gonna ask these guys, ask the Ray Center, because if they're showing in their tax filings that they've got this cash and they're paying salaries for employees. And if they're doing a garden for $8,000 a year or whatever, whatever they're spending their money on, ask for the transparency, just like you asked him. And how are they spending their money? What is the town supplement gonna do for them? And if the town supplement means that's the only way we can fund these kids to have the daycare, totally great. If they can cut out a garden for a year or some other spending, like, let us know and just be transparent with the town. But I don't want the town to think that we don't want to support those kids having a place so the parents can work. That's not the issue here. It's like the transparency of what's happening behind the scenes.
All right, thank you. And again, I think the plan was 2 years ago to have this discussion in 3 years. At town meeting said, we'll give you what was 34,000 and we'll add 10,000 a year for 3 years. But at that point, we want you to come back and lay out the sort of things you're talking about and for the town to make a decision about its relationship with the Ray Center nonprofit. We're kind of forced into that a year early, at least the way my thinking is working. Does anybody else like to say anything? Yes, hi, Joan.
So one of my comments was related to the insurance and it just chucked around, that's all. And if you stay with the ones you've got, great.
Yeah. Point taken, by the way.
Yeah, one question, and I might be wrong about this, but the items you're talking about zeroing out totally. That means if somehow money popped up and you didn't, some employee left and you didn't replace them, or something didn't need fixing and there was extra money. If there's nothing there, you cannot spend the money on that line item, correct?
It's a good question. I wondered about that.
Yeah,
because
most used to put $1.
$1 in.
Yeah,
That
no, and
opens that line.
that was
That's a
at
good
the end,
point.
I think I was gonna move that way because you're correct. If that line item was zeroed out at town meeting specifically on a vote. But on the other hand, the select board has authority to shift funds within the budget through the year to make up for overages in one.
Is it if the line items open, if you will?
That is the
Yeah, see,
question,
that's
so.
what I always thought, and my suggestion was just.
We will go,
throw
yes,
a buck
we
on
were,
it.
that was the last thing, I think, yeah.
Just a
Can I answer that?
couple, yeah,
So say if we had, for example, library and we zeroed out that line for the year. So that line item comes off of our chart of accounts. The library comes to us and there's a disaster, they need books. We could fund that request through contingency. That would be an outlet for us.
Right, and then the following year, we would
put it back in.
put it back, and then if it's approved at town meeting. So I guess
think
that's the
we're
way you
trying
have to do it.
tricky versus- I mean, if you throw a buck in any of these ones.
Right, no, and we do that in a number of cases
Yeah.
as well with the CIP. I think we put $2 in.
Yeah, just.
Just to keep it on the list.
A couple other things. When we're all talking about postage, have you looked into, or is there a possibility that some of these things can be done electronically? Can the water sewer bills go out electronically? Can the tax bills go out electronically? I don't know if there's any
We
regulation.
do have a mix, yeah.
So, there's some potential future
Right.
savings, or maybe this year too, in that area. And most of us pay all our bills electronically.
Right.
nowadays, too,
Yeah,
so-
we've gotten resistance in the past, as
Yeah.
you might imagine, giving our demographic, if I can put it that way. But
So people are.
yeah, we are getting to it, but I don't know, Steve or Kristen, did you want to comment on that? I know we've had this discussion. Yeah, we do both.
Access everything on the computer through our website.
Yeah.
And
Right, but
we'll
you
send
still
out-
spend, but that's
Yes.
my point is,
A lot of our residents basically say they want to see the paper bill. I lead them through the website and they just tell me that it's
But-
difficult
but
or,
I don't have an option to not receive my water sewer bill.
no.
And that's my point, and on your credit card, you can go pay.
I wonder about state law and taxes.
That would.
Yep.
That would be an opt-out.
Do
We don't have a repository either of everyone's email address who lives in town.
Yeah, there's a, you
Yeah.
have to go to that.
I mean, I think we can look at that for
Yeah.
following years,
Yeah.
but, and I don't know what the legal ramifications are, like a tax bill. Can you just send it electronically or does it actually
Yeah, I can see the tax might be an issue.
have to go to a, you know,
Yeah.
through the
And-
USPS?
You know, a butter notices, things.
Things like that,
Yeah.
red, which are what, that's
Yeah.
registered, is that registered or is that
Certified.
certified? That's certified, so. Yeah, there may be some savings there, but unfortunately for this year's budget, but.
Yeah.
Yeah,
The other thing, I guess I don't totally understand for the Derby.
Mhm.
$2,000-3,000, whatever you're getting for fish, if. Throw Mike Capella under the bus, but he said, you know, he'll form some committee and back it. If they just paid for the entertainment, and if they just paid for the T-shirts or whatever, or prizes. That does that have to go through the town budget or?
No, if they did it, but they would just coordinate it with us.
Right.
I mean,
Right,
that
so-
was my question, my sort of.
well, that's what I was asking, if we just put 2,000 in that line.
Well, no, my question was more along the lines of this
Yeah.
scenario.
Right.
Was if someone else is going to pay the vendors for these things. But are we still going to be? Dave and I bringing in our personnel costs to
That's
do the
the
event?
thing,
That is
that
my
big
question. It's
tax,
just
Well,
that,
I mean, logic would say you guys would run it. You've run it for,
of course, and I'm
Yes.
just wanting to get guidance
There-
from the select board about
Costs
that.
associated with running anything.
well, except the labor costs are not in the Derby line.
No,
So
and that's,
if you get rid of the Derby, in theory, your labor line goes down and
Mm-hmm.
it didn't, you know, and I don't expect.
Yeah, it'd
it.
be marginal anyway,
Um,
right,
but-
talking about.
But so, you know, you continue to run it.
Yeah.
The expenses to the town are the fish expenses and the others are all donated.
Yeah.
And that's what I would strive for, so you can still have as robust an event potentially.
Yeah.
We trust Mike. And-
Well, no, I mean, that's, I kind of was trying to get there too by saying,
Yeah.
we put the fish in anyway for leach control. And then
Yeah.
if someone wants to organize a derby with the town participating,
You
I don't know if the town necessarily running it.
but I'm hearing from you say organize, that's really the job of Dave and I to organize. They would be funding.
So yeah,
Right.
so
That's
basically you give them
different.
a
Right.
list and say, we always buy 200 T-shirts. These are the sizes we usually.
Well, it's a bit more complicated than that, Joe.
Well, if we
You
put
have
the,
to deal with the logo and, you know, and the order. It's a little bit more than that, but yes, I understand what you're saying.
we
Right,
could,
so, you know.
yeah.
This is what we typically get for prizes. Can you coordinate the prizes, this committee and?
we could, for example, I mean, if the fish are 2,000, I think we were up to 3,000 or 4,000 potentially.
I
Three
think 3
certainly.
is where we are.
So 3, so, you know, that could cover us legally with regard to any personnel costs potentially, or any involvement we do have.
Yeah, and that's your
On it.
call. I mean, like
Yep,
like
yep,
Joan
that's what I was trying to
stated,
get
that
at.
it's not in the budget, our personnel costs. It's already,
It's already
fixed.
accounted, it's
Yeah.
already accounted for.
Yes, because I mean, actually Dave probably has more personnel costs than I do for that event.
Yeah, it's built in,
Right.
so, and it's not. You know,
Right,
we're
so-
not talking huge
Right,
amount.
that's what I
So
was
if you
suggesting.
Like, you know,
Okay, no, that's
piece
why I
of
was
it
looking at the 3.
to a citizens committee or whatever he wants
Yeah.
to call it. You know, but
No,
you guys still
absolutely.
run- That's what I just.
Yeah,
And-
Over.
And Steve, can you, just because I couldn't see back there even with my glasses on, can you sort by what's being cut? So that we're really only looking at what's being cut? And yeah,
There you go. Now make it nice and big.
yeah. Okay, so.
And that's an order of cut,
Dollar.
of dollar, right?
And the way.
Yeah, the first line got screwed up.
Yeah, that's the total. Yeah.
Well, at the end of this, you end up with 7, so, yeah. And, you know, the transit service, I mean, there are a lot of taxpayers, they don't necessarily live here who use it.
Yeah.
Matter of fact, I think they're the majority that and the guests at the lodges.
And the
So-
theory would be that the lodges, that the stops would continue.
At the lodges, and people can go to the lodges.
resort Properties.
Right.
Yeah,
They would.
yeah, but we've not heard from the ski resort as to what their plans are without this $74,000 or $73,000
Well, Katie had made a casual comment.
comment that the lodges would,
Officially,
right, but nothing back at us to know for sure what their
And
their
the
plan is.
wage differences were basically based on the fact that.
We're not gonna hire until, if we can find those folks until later. But again, remember, if we hire someone
That's
Right.
June, it's
into
November.
November, well,
October.
October, November, the last quarter, we
Oh,
back
I
that
thought
off.
we were doing 2 quarters for.
A quarter each for
Yeah.
wastewater and a half for public works. But again, they'll be fully funded if we were successful
Yes,
next year.
Yeah.
So we'll see that line go up considerably in personnel. And that is the issue, really, that 80% of the operating budget,
yes.
as we pointed out at town meeting, is personnel. Right, and
That's a tough one.
that makes it extreme, but this is what it looks like.
Is there anything below this? There are things below.
Yeah, bring it down. It's probably a
Small
lot
ones.
there's a lot of small ones
Yeah, a
below.
bunch of small
A
ones.
lot of departmental cuts.
Okay. Yeah, and I guess my hope was by either whatever the manner is, by putting the $1 in or something.
Yeah,
like
no,
that,
thank you
know,
for reminding
there-
us. I think,
If we
yeah,
surplus-
anything with zero out, we'll put $1 so that we can put it towards, right, put it towards it. Thank you. Okay. Does anybody else have a? Yes, please.
Rogers Mountain, 6 Boulderwood. So just as a quick follow-up, we did just take a peek at the tax returns, and the $100,000 is the settlement plus interest that can't be touched for another decade-ish. So eventually, at least on the there'll be some cash coming in, but it's gonna be a little while. And I did want to clarify, I think Leah did present a budget showing what next year would look like with and without
You did.
the port.
Yes, correct.
And you know, things like the flower beds, those are self-sustaining. They charge to use them and then they charge to maintain them. So there are programs that the Ray Center runs that obviously collects income. And I do think also, like, you know, we hear the feedback that the idea is eventually that the Ray Center stands on its own 2 feet, which is obviously every organization's goal. And I think we're upping fundraising efforts for next year. We do some pretty major ones over the past few years, but there's been a lot of talk about what else we can do to bring in our own funds. So I think, you know, the support is crucial and appreciated, and the goal is obviously ultimately to be able to support ourselves, and we really are working towards that goal. We're just, you know, trying to attract a few more families in, but then really finding other ways to include the community, to hold a couple events, to bring some funds in and support ourselves going forward.
I think another point, thank you. I think another point to be made is that, as I recall, some of what the rec department used to do was farmed out to the Ray Center, some of the programs early on, or there was a mix as to some of those
We're
programs.
talking,
Mm,
because the town used to run the
That-
Ray Center or the.
Right, well, that was it.
Terrace
That's what I'm,
Storage Cottage.
but it was
before
for the
became a
program
501c3.
and a preschool.
Yeah, oh, and that was long, I mean,
But those programs were in lieu of the rec doing it, maybe that's a better way of saying it.
the
It's-
recreation department ran the Curious George Cottage. That
Right.
was part of the recreation department.
Okay,
And then they became the Ray Center 501c3.
right,
And then they were their own entity, and they have been out of Town Square building. They have.
right. I remember them there.
Yep,
Yeah.
and then they were sort of running their mission, but it was really went through a huge change, and that's when the preschool came in. I mean,
And
you guys know. And
that's perhaps the dilemma.
yes, and I
caused
think
all
that,
this.
but they were actually just not doing very well for a number of years. They were kind of declining with their current model, and then the preschool to sort of breathe new life into it, and I think they're just trying to catch up now with finding ways to fund themselves, and just like Nadja said.
Yeah, for what it's worth, it's still quite a young organization, but we're
Right,
building every year, and we're
Yeah.
really are, as I said, trying to become a self-sustaining organization going forward.
And just to go a little further, if you were to think about the town taking over the Ray Center, they can't do that because they are running the preschool in a totally different,
Right.
nonprofit.
we could take those programs back if we some of the other
They
things. What
don't
else do
really
they
have
do?
much left, like we're
Right.
sort of taking the
Right.
speaker series. Dan, help me, what else is there?
Is the literary group still?
The literary group,
Literary and current events.
Okay.
Discussion group.
And the
And I
gardens.
think,
Still fun.
right,
Garden.
I think everything else is sort of
The gardens, that's on town property.
got, well,
but
the,
those are supported by the Ray Center.
yeah, the
Those don't-
gardens at the Curious George Cottage are part of the Ray Center, and then the
Okay.
community gardens around town, which there aren't very many
Right.
that people are actually taking care of right now. In fact, Irrit is one of the few remaining people, and Carol took one on, right?
Yeah.
So, and I think Roper, pardon?
Well, the
Music.
Ray Center has music events,
Yeah, and I think there's more of those are coming with
Right.
summer to, again, to generate some more revenue.
but what I was thinking of, just in terms of rec programs, there isn't much left for them to transfer over necessarily.
Not really, no.
No.
They
I
do
think
a,
was
they do a
stargazing
kids
also.
summer camp.
Oh, yeah, I mean,
They
that for
do-
sure.
they
do
Right,
those-
but that's part of the,
Things with, it's not part of the preschool, it's a separate
Okay.
thing.
But it's preschool aged.
Yeah,
it's
it's-
technically-
It's a
Okay.
part of their
Yes.
budget.
And then they also have snowshoe hikes for kids and
right,
they do some of that kind of stuff as well, right?
I don't know, do they? Okay.
Yeah.
but that's the under 5 crowd, right, basically.
Yeah.
Right.
Generally, that's the target at this point.
Yep.
The kids that are sort of too young to be part of the rec, they're
Mhm.
taken by the Ray Center.
And we do have some of their kids in our after-school program.
Yes.
Okay,
Thank you.
thank you. Would anyone else like to comment? Yeah, well, I see Alan and then Dan, we'll get you after Alan.
I just left Daryl Fernandez under the bus. If I made a
As long as
donation,
it isn't us, we're good.
if I made a donation to the Waterville Foundation,
Yeah.
they could then buy stuff for the town and I'd have I'd have a charitable
Sure.
deduction.
Yeah, I
It
don't,
may make it a little bit, I don't know about easier, but it works for me.
okay,
Know
Well,
what I'm saying?
I do hear you, but we still run into the same problem. If we take on that money, then we have to put out the cost. So
I'm solving half the problem, my side.
saying is you need to go further with Daryl and tell him he has to go to the store and buy the things.
it's more than just the money.
Yes, it's
Yeah.
more than just the money, Alan.
Here's the bill.
Yeah, we just need them to go run around and do all the shopping like Dave and I normally would.
Yeah, Dan,
Daniel Newton with Mountain Brook Condos, and I just had a question.
we need to get you
about
on the camera
about
just so that,
Curious George.
yeah, that's why we're forcing everybody up.
I understand it's a preschool now and families are important. I didn't know how many families there are in the school and are they all Waterville residents? Good, I just didn't know.
Yep. Anyone like, Nadia, would you like to answer that?
Again, so I think we're at 6 right now, that are at least, 4 out of 6, I believe, are Waterville residents and 2 are tuitioned in. We did a sort of, I guess unofficial, small enough number. We did an official count of how many current families in the school came through the Ray Center or are younger siblings of kids that moved in and have older siblings. And it's over half of the K-5 group are either like, I myself moved here because the Ray Center is here and there are a number of families like that. And then there are families who came up through the Ray Center and are now in the school. So we're acting as a massive sort of feeder program into the elementary school also.
Thank you. Yes, Cindy, come on down.
Cindy Picos, Union Peak Road. The question that I have is individuals and residents of the town, if we wanted to donate or purchase and donate
There you go.
to the rec center or whatever community needed to be, would there be a list that could be put out so that people could see in the town what the needs were? Come and see you, sign up, see what you need with your logos, et cetera, and all of that.
Absolutely.
To take out some of this burden so that we could probably have some of these programs like the fishing derby continue.
Absolutely.
There's a lot of us here that would be willing to do that.
Yes, and
So-
right now, that's the way to do it is to donate
So
and purchase. And
we
so
need a list.
We can, yes, and as soon as this is finalized and I know what
And-
we're dealing with, and I Lists.
Again, yeah, that's the idea of
Mhm.
getting the fish and then
Thank you.
seeing. We'll put the fish in anyway
Mhm.
for pond maintenance, I guess. Then if whether or not we have a casting for Kirby is gonna depend on assistance.
Now, along with that line with lists, we do have the fireworks. Well, and geez, that would be, I don't know how that would work. Yeah, cause I know
So-
the business community.
More
So
involved.
right now, the town has a contract with Pyrotechnico, the fireworks folks.
Right,
We do have an escape. There is a fee involved with us canceling the contract. It's roughly 10%.
Is there?
10%.
Yeah,
Yep, we agree to that,
We
and
read
it's
it
what's the
today.
date, one April?
One
on
April.
April.
One
Yeah, we're
April.
gonna cancel that.
Yeah. So
well,
if we were to have that again, they would need to have a separate contract with the fireworks company in order to do that. It wouldn't be through us.
right.
I
Or
would
different
like to
fire-
raise one other issue with that possibly, which
Yeah.
is, was extraordinarily hard to get July 4th
Right.
fireworks.
Right.
And so as soon as we back out of that contract, we are going to go to the bottom of the list
Yeah.
and we may never get it back.
That's why we decided to sign the contract and pay a penalty if we,
Just make
if we
sure.
pulled out.
Yeah, we had to sign it last year.
Yeah,
In order
we
to
did.
lock in our spot.
August.
Yeah.
Right.
That's right, there are consequences to reducing the budget,
But,
and we're gonna see those, and we're gonna see those long term.
but just to put it out there for,
You
The
can
different
thank
end-
those who pushed to reduce it.
just put it,
excuse me, John,
But
but I
just
think
to-
Wendy wants to make a point,
just to
but then
put
you
it
can come
out
up. and-
there, yes, to
Yeah.
all the entities. Anyone who's interested in helping to save the fireworks, y'all gotta move fast.
Yeah.
But it has to be done in a way that it doesn't show up on the town expenses, and so that's more, my point was like,
Tell,
how does that have?
tell
kids
Atlas
private
that the
check-
check's gonna be coming from someone else.
A bunch of private checks,
Yeah.
Atlas,
Well, we have a check already,
$3,000.
$3,000.
BA,
but
Um,
you know,
Craig said he might be interested in running them at the.
okay,
golf
We
course
we
that
have
you
till
do
April
here.
1st.
okay,
yeah,
okay,
i.e. a week,
yeah,
this week,
yeah,
this week and Monday.
And we
Joe?
gotta make a decision.
Okay,
Again, I don't really know the names anymore that with changes, but where does the Resort Lodging Association or the Business Association?
yeah.
In the past, where did the Resort Association?
that's the
They
three.
contributed, didn't
The
they?
Yeah.
WBVA did contribute, it's WBB Business
Yeah.
Association now, and contributed $3,000 before we kind of went into our new iteration.
Okay.
And without any revenue stream, this organization's pretty strapped. The WVLA did, or one representative of the WVLA did say that there would probably be some interest in the lodges contributing, but it's a moving target.
And what?
So we
did
would
you do?
return the $3,000 that was, if we cancel,
Right.
we would
and-
return the $3,000 from the VA.
Here, so you had.
It's
we-
20,000.
Yeah, so we'd originally in past spent 13,000.
Correct.
Now you're
Yeah.
going up because of the,
Semi-quincentennial.
Because of
Right.
price gouging, basically.
well. Yeah, I thought because it was the 250th anniversary.
Yeah, they raised their
It's
prices.
still
Oh,
price
okay, it
gouging.
wasn't, it was gonna be bigger. It was,
No.
it was just.
That was the increase, the seven,
It
yeah,
was gonna be bigger.
a 50% increase.
If we. That contract, can it be
Hmm,
lessened,
Increased,
but just
yeah.
just a smaller? Yeah, those are long.
That's true, yes.
No, we have gone down because of safety concerns. I mean, that's certainly something we can explore, but again,
Not even a week. to do.
yeah, we have actually to get this budget to DRA by, how many? 30th, 31st?
We actually have
So-
to make a decision tonight.
No,
folks.
but
Well,
this
no,
is
my
how
point
the
was
budget-
that
We
it's
have
not
to
coming
do
out
to
of-
get this to the
If it's not
DRA.
going to be in your budget,
Right,
and the hope is that there.
Well, then we can, if someone wanted to step forward, we don't have to cancel the contract right away, if that's
Oh,
what
okay,
I'm saying.
but
We got till 1 April,
To cancel the contract?
Yeah.
yes,
Well, that's
it's quite.
Next week.
a week away, yeah.
yeah, that's what we're trying to say.
But it's longer than tonight.
Yeah.
So tonight we have to make the.
Tonight
decision,
is
and
now.
there's an extra week to
Right.
fund the fireworks.
Okay. Anybody else have anything to say? This is your last opportunity because we're gonna make the final decision, I think. John,
John, I'll let Chippewa way.
Speak up.
Johnny, we can't hear you, Johnny. John, Hanakella, 10 Chippewa Way. We've been bantering back and forth for the past 2 hours. About where we cut, what we cut, things of that nature. And, you know, I get back to what these two young ladies are trying to do is to bring young families into the community. But if we don't maintain some level of fiscal sanity, fiscal responsibility, and we continue to raise our tax rates 16% as we have for the past 2-3 years, and then we have some on the board who are like, that's what's gonna happen. We're losing sight of the fact that none of those families will ever be able to afford to live here. So please keep that in mind. We need to maintain a sense of responsibility fiscally so that those young families can live in here. Thank you.
Thank you, John. Okay. Now the hard part.
Yeah.
The hardest part.
Well, where do we stand?
Yeah, do we stand?
Well, from my notes, and
We were-
please correct me, we had tentatively found. I think you've already applied the reduction in seeing postage, and there was one other thing. Anyway, we found $4,000 before we even started to talk about the race center contingency. Is that correct? That's what my notes show. I think there was 1,000 you were thinking of transferring over, but there was 3,000 out of admin. Is that correct?
The adjustments that we made tonight, Rich, have
Yeah.
a net effect of, we're off by $2,300,
If we kept everything the way we previously,
as discussed tonight.
yeah,
At,
please, guys.
at which
Yeah.
point, because we kind of had trailed off with like the WVAIA.
Yeah, we haven't made
Historical
those.
Society, race it, so is that with?
Those are zeros. That's
Okay,
30.
So that's race center at
At
30.
30, AIA at 0, Historical Society at 0.
Yep.
We didn't make any change in the fall foliage race, the solar wilderness. And is that adding the $2,000? Is that shifting around for casting for Kirby?
Yes,
2,000 or 3,000?
I believe it was 3,000 when we.
It was 3, right? I think the other 1,000 was that you could you had
Yeah.
another
Yeah, I
1,000
mean,
in
we
your
don't even
budget, so that's a
think
net,
about that.
that's a net 0. Yeah.
So $2,300,
Correct.
And do we want the current mix? Obviously, we can find $2,300.
right?
But the real question is, do we want the current mix? I
Can you sort it the way we originally had it? If we had,
just by line item
yeah. however
number, it was line item number, I guess, or by department categories.
Yeah, department categories.
Yeah, I think, Dan, when we made an adjustment to this, it kind of made things a little wonky, but
Yeah, I just want to see where we
yeah.
walk down. We had.
But yeah, it is a big question we have to wrestle with. The contingency recruitment versus Historical Society and AIA.
Yeah, I think it comes
that's
down to that.
where we're at.
Yeah,
There we
I'm
go.
sorry. Where were we on the town council? I'm also concerned about that.
So we plus
45K.
plus that up another 5,000 from what was originally proposed to you.
Right. So we actually went up there, right?
Yeah, we
I
did.
think we need to do that.
I think we're going to need to do that too.
Yeah.
I don't disagree with that at all.
So really it comes, so we're 2,300 off, but we still need to decide the mix. Between race center, contingency, recruitment,
Historical and AIA.
historical AIA. Do we want to go back and look at the fall foliage race and the solar wilderness? Those are revenue generators. But in light of some of the other concerns raised,
Right.
You're asking if you should take those out too?
Or is there a way to?
$4,000, I'm
Is there a way
sorry.
to trim them down? Like, if we're looking at special events for rec, like I don't know, could it come? Overall, could that decrease by a percentage and you trim back each event a little bit?
Well, the hard part about this is that you're offering a value when you're when you're
Yeah.
designing an event and asking a certain admission fee. It's very hard to keep your admission fee where they are when you start chopping out all the amenities
know.
of the party.
Yeah.
So I would say no. Like, it's not that easy to just take out
So that's a $4,000 hit on the expense side, those two together,
what, which two are you talking about right now?
fall foliage and solar wilderness.
Solo
No.
is 2,700.
Yeah, solo is 20, we could take out the solo altogether, you know, and save $2,700 and then lose. You
The
know.
$3,000
I think it's,
revenue, but that's kind of like a wash, really, right?
yeah,
They kind of all are, right?
Well, the fall foliage, I think nets about 2. Did I understand that? Minus,
Yeah.
so actually that's about an $1,100 in revenue when you subtract the money we give to charity.
yep.
So the two
And then we're
together,
also bringing in revenue in terms of donations. So it's even more if we are including that, which even though officially we aren't,
Mhm.
it is, you know, the town, I think, looks at it that way as well.
Okay.
With, when they're talking about the rec department, you know, subsidy.
Yeah, no, that's what I'm getting at, right? Yeah. Yeah, go ahead, Dan.
I mean, I can,
If we were to put the Ray Center at 25 instead of 30. That gets us. We still have another, what, 2,700 we can add elsewhere, right? Is that correct?
Yeah.
Right, if you subtract the 23 we're over.
Right, so that gives us. That would be 27 you could put elsewhere. You
But-
could
right.
include, if you decided, put that back to the Ray Center, or you could put it to somewhere else. If you wanted to do,
I heard recruiting.
you know,
Well, there's recruiting contingency.
yeah,
We leave the contingency at 70, is that what you're
Yeah.
saying? And
Yeah.
recruiting, again, we're
I don't,
pushing the envelope on recruiting, I think.
Or AIA.
Well, just,
Historical
right,
Society,
right.
because
They-
they're still at 0.
They're still at
in
0.
that scenario.
but you know, does $1,000 make a difference?
On what? I'm sorry.
Like WVAIA, I mean, it's. I mean, as much as I would want to do these things, it's like just,
Has the WVA
we
IA
don't
ever
have
gone
any real
after?
good options here. I can't come up with $10,000. For
Well,
each of these, it's just not
That was
fair.
plus the recruitment line up to 26,111. So.
But we've already
you know,
spent 9, so we're at 15. And we
Yeah.
don't know what our preferred candidate is gonna request. In terms of relocation or signing bonus, which I fully expect is coming our way, which means we'll have to probably take some of it out of contingency, which we're leaving at 70.
Yeah,
And here we are in,
not optimal, obviously, as you know, I agree with you.
And under the salary line, if there was a signing bonus, that,
don't see how we do that. We're already cranked in the salary starting at, well, we could potentially, but I mean, if he doesn't start to 1 April, we were looking at 9 months. It still doesn't work. We can't get the money out and the difference isn't there. Okay,
I don't want to make any guarantees. That's a big assumption.
yeah, no, I see. All right.
I have one thing I could offer. If we wanted to go to 6 days at the waterfront boat operations instead of 7 days a week, we could
Okay.
take out about 3,000.
Okay.
What will the revenue impact be for that?
Honestly, I don't think it would be too bad because we've always been sort of committed to 7 days because of the
Right.
Freedom Pass.
yeah,
Well,
stuff,
because of
yeah.
the Freedom Pass and
Program, right?
that program is happening this year. We're not sure of the future of it, but we didn't have any sort of contract with them to be running 7 days. So honestly, taking out a Monday or a Tuesday, I don't think would be that impactful to our revenue
Right.
stream.
Yeah, because I'm sure you've kept track of which
Yeah,
days are the busiest.
definitely.
Take the least
Yeah.
busy day.
Well,
That's
I'm
a good
sorry.
point.
Well, that's
Yeah.
3,000.
Well, that gets
Where
us,
are we gonna put that?
well, but we've got the 23 to cover. We can look at it your way or look at it. That kind of gets us to 7 million. We take that
Right.
3.
Right.
We're gonna lose this. Need that laptop charger.
So we don't have to find that 2,300.
Yeah.
But I want to go back to, I think Wendy's initial formulation, which I said at the time, I agreed with, which was to push the race center to 10, contingency to 85. I guess we'll just
I
sit.
disagree with that.
Okay, let me finish though. The recruitment at 0 additional. And 2.5 to AIA and the Historical Society, at least it's something. I know it's not gonna get their programs that they want.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess. I mean, contingency with 80. You think 80 would be a,
I mean, it'd be better than 70.
yeah, no, I know, and then put 15 the race center,
15 for a-
80 the contingency.
Yep.
Keep our fingers crossed on recruitment.
Yeah,
Because we do want to get those folks.
Yeah, we need them.
We will find we'll find a way. And then go 2.5 on,
Historical.
yeah, how does that look in the budget? I know it's making everybody angry,
That's what a compromise is all about.
Yeah. but what does that do for us? And we just won't touch fall foliage or solar wilderness, we'll just leave those alone, right?
Yep.
Spot on.
okay.
Can I ask a question of WVAA? Mostly here. Bob, well, okay.
About what, your helping them?
No,
Tom,
no.
helping them?
The Forest Service has trail stewardish grant.
We do
Trail
have-
stewardish grants.
Right.
That they can go after as well.
I think they already participate in that, and there are people who are stewards, right?
Yeah, all the WVAIA trails are currently have trail adopters. I'm one of them, and they don't pay us anything, but we maintain lopping, and it's the low level type stuff. In terms of trying for grants, I've also approached some of the organizations that fund that co-fund with the White Mountain National Forest. Everybody is just like putting their hands up. It's very hard to get any money.
Yeah, okay. So Dan, you said you were against
Well,
15,
so
Ray,
you
10.
lowered that, you raised them from 10 to 15.
Yeah,
You lowered you raised,
contingency 10.
you lowered our
Well,
contingency.
from
From
the-
85.
From
80.
85, yes, correct, and then,
So. I mean, obviously, there's nothing we can do that makes things perfect for everybody. And right now, we're sitting at $7 million. Everybody across the board is taking cuts. I don't think there's a single group that isn't taking significant cuts.
Yep.
And those are the consequences when people make random rash decisions and give you an explicit number like that.
okay. All right, Wendy, did you want to add anything to where we're at?
Nope. Nope, I think
It's time for a motion?
I'll make a motion that,
Oh, go ahead.
that we approve the budget as has been amended this latest iteration. How do we specify that, I guess?
I think as presented to us, I mean, we can, I think we need to vote. We can actually have something in front of us in paper, but I mean, I think we have it on the screen as presented to us
On the screen.
on the screen.
The 3/23/26 draft alternate town budget
As presented to us on
this evening.
this evening on the
On the big screen.
on the big screen. Okay,
That's 7 million.
all right. I-
7 million.
All right, I will second that. All in favor, Wendy?
Aye.
Aye,
Right?
all right. Thank you, everybody. We need to go into non-public, sure, it's not about the budget, it's about some other legal matter. There are other things that are tying us up. Thank you for coming, everybody. Appreciate all the suggestions.